Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Bunnies on BZCast. I am your host Randy. This is of course the podcast of bunniesine.com. That's everyone's favorite bunny website. Of course where you can find the e-magazines and links and more stuff on the podcast. Today is June 1st. I'm recording this on June 1st, 2016. New issue just dropped today. I think this is the first time I've ever done a recording on a new issue day. It features our friends at Make Me Happy. They have an Instagram, a Facebook, and a Twitter. So make sure you guys check them out at Make Me Happy. The three bunnies, I believe. Yeah, three bunnies on there. Cool featurette for them. It's really cool. Again, the more you guys download, the more you guys share, the more attention that gets for Bunnies On. The more grow, the more we can grow, the more advertisers we can get. We could take that advertising money and put it into rescues. That's Bunnies On's goal. So you guys, our fans, our listeners, our readers, don't have to donate to the rescues. That's the ultimate goal. Yesterday, Dustin posted on the Facebook page about my birthday. So everyone that posted in the comments, thank you. I appreciate it. I turned 27 yesterday. By the time you guys will hear this, it'll be like 5 or 6 days afterwards, post-editing and all that. But thank you guys again that left comments. And thank you, Dustin, and everyone on the Bunnies On team for the well wishes. It was a good birthday. Did one of my favorite things, going to a Chicago Cubs game. That's like one of my sanctuaries is Wrigley Field. So I loved it. It was a great time. Sort of sad news that I have to share in the beginning. I don't know if some of you know Bunny Box. That's getbunnybox.com. It's like a little box that you get in the mail where it's filled with treats and hay, and there might be a toy in there. I'm not sure. I've never ordered it, but they announced today that June is their final month. They're closing, so check out their website. It's getbunnybox.com. They didn't ask me to do this. I just noticed it on Twitter today, this morning, and I felt bad for them. I feel bad for any kind of company that has to close its doors. And their reviews were great. If you go on their reviews on their website, they were great. People loved it. People were like, monthly and yearly subscribers to get that box in the mail. So if you guys want to check them out, help them out one last time, that's getbunnybox.com. That's their website to order. Sorry about my voice, guys. Social media pages. We're at official BZine on Twitter, official Bunnies On Instagram, and Bunnies On Facebook. Make sure you give us a like and follow all the way there. This is episode 22 of the Bunnies On BZCast. We are coming up just in a couple of weeks on the 1-year anniversary of our first recording. That first recording was with Ann Martin of the National House Rabbit Society in California. The show has come really, really far, and I think it's gotten way better in that 1 year since that first recording. But it has been awesome. I can't wait to share that with you guys. There's actually a column in our new e-magazine this month that where I wrote a couple of paragraphs about the first year, some of the great guests that we've had on. I didn't get to include the guests that I'm about to bring on today into that column, but I did say that the episode would be coming out shortly. I will definitely talk about our guest coming up in a minute or so here. It's going to be like the first year review. June 16th is exactly the 1-year anniversary of our recording, so I will definitely talk about all the different guests. And all the stuff that I've learned a ton of stuff from our guests, and how the show will be going forward. Again, that recording will probably happen on June 16th. I try to do it exactly on the anniversary dates, so it'll be out like 3 or 4 days afterwards. All right, guys. Let me see if there's anything else. Oh, again, the featured rescue for our new issue that just dropped today, June 1st. Make sure you guys check it out. It's the pinned post on Facebook and Twitter for the link. It's also the link in our Instagram. If you go to our Instagram bio, you just click the link and download the issue. The featured rescue is Bunnies United Network, local rescue of mine in Illinois. I'm really happy they've had me over for Binky hours. You know, all the bunnies get together and play with toys and eat food and stuff. And they've let me come to it twice, which is really, really cool. So please help them out. They're really new. The rescue itself is only about a year old. So if you guys donate, you'd be really helping them out. And that's pretty much it. So big news, guys. I've posted about it on Twitter and Facebook at least 3 or 4 times in the last couple of weeks. We've been trying to schedule this show with my guest for, at least, I'd say 10 weeks to 10 days to 14 days. Crazy opposite schedules and crazy time difference. It was just crazy. My guest is the Rabbit Doctor, Dr. Gerry Skinner. She's from Melbourne. This is like the second, technically this is the second international show that we've ever done. Dustin was in Canada when we did that show, but this one's super, super international. I could call it that. I'm bringing my guest in right now, the Rabbit Doctor Gerry Skinner. This is also done. This is the first recording not done on my phone. It is done it's done on my phone, but it's done over FaceTime. It's not done over a phone call. Again, the Rabbit Doctor Gerry Skinner. Gerry, how you doing?
I'm great, thank you. How are you? Greetings to everyone from Melbourne, Australia.
That's awesome. So there's about a 15-hour time difference between us, which is just crazy. Right now, it's like almost 6 p.m. in Illinois Central Time. It's about 15 hours between us, so it's about 9 a.m. close.
It's a.m. on a very foggy Melbourne morning. It's I can just about see outside. It's pretty cold here for Australia as well. We're just coming into winter, so we need to rug up all our bunnies.
Oh wow! So it's June 1st here and 9 a.m. June 2nd there.
That's absolutely right. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, again, I posted this a couple of times on the Facebook and Twitter. We did get about 3 questions, and then we'll go over some general rabbit health stuff, bunny health stuff. So, again, I'm really excited to do this show, Gerry. But for my guests that do not know who you are, can you just give us a little intro about yourself and your work?
Oh, absolutely. So, you can probably gather from my accent, although I live in Australia, I'm not actually, well, I am an Australian now, but I'm actually originally from the UK. I graduated from Bristol in 2003 as a vet, but all my life I've had rabbits. I've owned rabbits. Rabbits have been part of my life probably for about 40 years. So even before I became a vet, I was a crazy rabbit lady, and even all the way through university was very keen on bunnies. When I graduated, I worked in first mixed practice and then emergency and critical care. And started seeing rabbits pretty early on as primary cases, and also people started to send them to me as I got a reputation for being someone who was quite knowledgeable with rabbits and very interested in them. There is no path to becoming a rabbit specialist. There's actually only one person on the planet who can call themselves a rabbit specialist, and that's Dr. Frances Harcourt Brown in the UK, who is my mentor and is an absolutely awesome woman. She got given this title by the Royal College. So anybody you talk to who's a rabbit vet, who calls himself a rabbit vet, we just have a special interest. We're not specialists. But so my area of expertise is actually emergency and critical care. So I started doing rabbits, and I started my exotics training to get an exotics certificate, which is the closest thing you can get to bunny training. And halfway through my training for my exotic cert, my husband and I emigrated to Australia. And I came over to Australia and I said to my husband, well, there's no point in doing exotics. It's Australia. Who's going to want a rabbit vet in Australia? Given Australia's reputation for owning rabbits. How wrong I was. But after 10 years as an emergency and critical care vet, I saw a lot of rabbits and developed my specialism in the emergency and critical care of rabbits. And about three and a half years ago, I decided that working 120-hour weeks and not having Christmas off for 10 years and just being a bit tired generally, maybe emergency was not for me anymore. And I decided to see whether or not I could open up a little bunny practice. I thought it would be a nice part-time job, maybe a day or two a week. And I sat down very carefully to think about what I wanted to do with the Rabbit Doctor business. And I know what an important part of my business is to run a house call service. Because most of us know who've got bunnies, most bunnies hate travelling. They hate going to the vet for things like vaccinations and just the routine stuff. Yeah. So I decided that house calls would be part of my business. I also wanted to set up in a specialist centre, an emergency critical care centre, so rabbits could get 24-hour care if they were sick. So there was always somewhere you could take your bunny if they were not well at any time of day or night. And we all know rabbits like to get sick at night and on Christmas Day and early in the morning, and it's hard to get hold of a vet at those times. So setting up in an emergency centre was very important to me. And the third aspect of what I wanted to do in my business, which is a bit weird compared to some people, is I do have a passion for rabbit rescue and rabbit charities. And so there is a percentage of the Rabbit Doctor business. We spend 20% of our time. There actually are 3 rabbit doctors now, myself, Dr. Lizzie Selby, and Dr. Louise Pierce, and our 2 lovely nurses, Nurse Dee and Nurse Anthea. And between us, we spend about 20% of our time doing charity work for rescues and rehoming bunnies, and just trying to get the word out there about increasing welfare and rabbit rescue, and just especially in Australia, giving a voice for rabbits to be aware that they are pets. A lot of people in Australia still don't think rabbits are worth being domestic pets. There's a lot of people who'd like to get rid of all the rabbits, so we're trying to be a voice for them. So, this quiet little business I thought I would start 3.5 years ago, I put a Facebook post on a Facebook page and said, what do you think about me being a rabbit doctor? 12 hours later, there were 500 people on it saying, Gerry, great, thankfully you started being a bunny doctor. Where can we see you? And I hadn't even thought of a clinic yet. So, roll on 3 years later, there are 5 of us. We are full-time in an emergency critical care centre. I have over 1,000 clients in Melbourne, and business is great, and we're all going very well. That's me in a nutshell.
No, that was good. That was really, really detailed. So before we get into general questions, we did get 3 questions. One is from Dustin himself. Everyone knows who Dustin is, creator of Bunny Design. And then 2 came in to the email today. They literally came in within like an hour of my Facebook post today of kind of reminding people that we were doing this recording tonight / this morning for the Rabbit Doctor. So first question. Me and you talked a little about this on the air, and I think it's a really good general question that Dustin is asking. Dustin, in case of an immediate... Uh-oh. Losing... Okay. We're good, Gerry?
I've got you.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got you.
Okay. Dustin, in case of an immediate illness that can't wait for like a vet visit, what can we have on hand? What can we have to prepare ourselves with beforehand to give bunnies who fall into like a sudden emergency category? What can we do to give them their best chance of survival, whether it's like through the night or like through the weekend?
Oh, absolutely. So I appreciate that not everyone is going to have access to this, but if you have rabbits now, the first thing I would do is look up the phone number and the address of your nearest emergency centre. This is before you ever have an emergency. And I would call them up and find out whether they see rabbits and whether they have any rabbit savvy vets on duty, and what their procedures are with rabbits, so that you're prepared that if you need to go to hospital, you've got those details already. I would also suggest doing a dry run by car when you don't need to, so that you know where it is, so you're not looking for somewhere that's new in the middle of the night. That's just a standard sort of setup for an emergency. The other thing I would make sure that you're doing is that you've already got yourself a rabbit savvy vet. I'm sure most of you already have, but you need to strike up a really good relationship with your rabbit savvy vet, so that they can talk you through what you can do at home and what you can't do at home in an emergency. So you can't have a pile of drugs at home waiting to be given that you can give yourself. We have to prescribe medications for you. But I have clients whose rabbits often go into gut stasis, and with those rabbits, they do get painkillers. I have meloxicam on board, and often they have a bottle of meloxicam at home. This is a prescription medication, so they cannot give it without me giving the okay. So what I do for my clients is I get them to text me if their rabbit's not right, or to call me, and we chat through, and this can be 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I get them to call me and we talk through how the rabbit is, and if we have any concerns at all, I send them straight to the emergency centre. Sometimes I say, yes, you can have some pain, give him some pain relief, and see how 2 hours and see how you go. So in terms of prescription medication at home, you can't really have it unless you've already spoken to your vet and they're happy to put up this sort of service for you, where they can effectively prescribe medication they've given you over the phone. But to have stuff at home, there's a lot of things that people have in there, like bunny emergency packs. I guess the most important thing for rabbits if they are sick is fluids. Rabbits dehydrate very, very quickly. Their fluid requirement is twice that of a cat or a dog. And so they get dry very quickly. If rabbits are sick and they're dry, they are more likely to go into gut stasis quickly. And gut stasis, as you know, it's this disease. It doesn't matter what causes it. Sorry, it's not a disease. It is where the intestines stop moving, the GI tract stops moving, and it almost doesn't matter what causes the gut stasis. If you don't treat that, it does become a medical emergency pretty quickly. And so fluids can help with that. Whoops, I think we've lost me.
No, I still got you.
Hello?
You there, Jerry? I'm still here. I could still hear you. I could hear you. It's reconnecting. Sorry about this, guys. This is our first time with FaceTime doing it. Again, it's also an international call. It says currently on my cell phone that we are reconnecting. This actually reminds me of my first recording with Ann Martin, when we were trying to do this over Skype, and it just wasn't going well. Like, it was having problems staying like live, kind of like how this is right now. And then so I'm giving her a quick call back. Okay, all right, so we're back to Jerry. Okay, I got you back, right?
Yeah, in fact, a little hiccup here. So I was just going through lists of things that you should have at home.
Okay.
So obviously, a variety of syringes to give the water. Critical care. So this is, most of you know what this is, a magic powder that you make up and you syringe feed your bunny. And so if rabbits are not eating at home, it's really important that they get fed at least every 4 to 6 hours. So having some critical care at home is very important. As I say, analgesics, but these need to be prescribed by your vet. So that is something you need to talk to your own vet about. I know a lot of clients have things like Infocol. I'm not sure if it has a different name in the States, Randy, but
okay.
Infocol is this baby product to degas babies, to stop get them burping when they're not feeding very well, to get the gas out of your tummy. Now, there's nothing wrong with having Infocol. You can buy it off the shelf in the UK and in Australia. However, there's no evidence to suggest that Infocol actually gets rid of any bloat or any frothiness, because rabbits don't get bubbles, frothy bubbles in their tummy when they've got bloat or they've got gut stasis, but it is liquid and it tastes quite nice, so there's no harm in giving it. I guess as a vet, I'm always going to err on the side of caution and tell you that if your rabbit is sick, you should always contact a vet, and contact a vet before you contact your friends or people on Facebook to get some proper veterinary advice. Most of the time you'll be okay, and you may end up going to an emergency centre, get some medication and go home. What I wouldn't want you to do though is to miss those cases where your rabbit has become obstructed and needs surgery, or really is incredibly dehydrated and oral fluids aren't going to do it, and you'll need to come in and have an IV placed and be put in the ICU.
Okay. Because you brought up, I'm glad you brought up the critical care, because I was going to bring that up as well. Is there, and you brought up that other product that you said was also in the UK and Australia. Is there anything else that's kind of like critical care where you could see your vet in advance and kind of have it ready? Is there any other medication or powder mix that can treat other issues? Like, even if it's momentarily until you get to the vet?
I think probably critical care is your go-to if they're not eating. I guess there isn't a sort of one-stop covers all as well for emergencies. That's where it does get tricky. I guess as a vet, if I'm worried that your bunny is sick, they should be seen by a vet who can actually then say, yeah, you need X, Y, and Z. I do appreciate that some people live an awful long way away from a vet, and that's why having the phone number of your nearest emergency clinic is a very good thing to have on hand before you actually need them. So at the very least, you can talk to a vet on duty, and they may be many miles away, and they at least can give you some decent advice over the phone.
Yeah, I think not the question, but the general sense of the question is like, in Illinois, in the United States, in the state of Illinois, I know there's at least one. I'm lucky that it's about 45 minutes. I've had to actually go there a couple of times. It's a 24-hour exotic animal hospital that, treats bunnies. But at the same time, the problem is that not everyone has that. And not every... I'm not trying to put anything towards vets, but not every vet hands out their personal cell phone number. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
there's my personal cell. You can't see it, but yes, there's my personal cell phone number.
But yeah, that I guess people just think they don't have that luxury. So I think that's what the question is kind of steered towards too. When it's like, 2 a.m, you've got no one to call, and there isn't one, like maybe there just isn't one near you, or, maybe it's like 4 or 5 hours away, that kind of thing.
Absolutely. And that gets very, very difficult because we can't over the phone say, oh, we'll give you a pile of meds and you can do your own thing, because that can be fatal for your rabbit. Which is why I think the important thing, especially if you live a long way from a 24-hour emergency centre, is talking to your local vet before you need to ask them what the plan would be in the case of an emergency. And so your local vet then may say, right, I'll give you some medication, and if you need it, you can use it for this, and this. And
okay.
And just get yourself a plan together, because there's not going to be one medication that's going to fix everything.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of analgesia. Obviously, there are analgesics you can have at home on your shelf that you can use under veterinary supervision, and then in the clinic we have far more exciting ones that actually obviously are completely prescription only medications and must be given with the vet if present. So yeah, I think the best thing to do, and I do appreciate people live a long way away from emergency centres sometimes, is talk to the vet that you do use, who vaccinates your rabbit, who you use on a regular basis, to get a plan in place with them. They will know where the bunny savvy out of hours places are. They will make a plan with you about what to do if your rabbit is sick, and that's probably it's going to vary from everyone across the country.
Okay. So the next one came through email. The email is bunnyzinecast@gmail.com. bunnyzinecast@gmail.com. That's the email for the show. BUNNYZINECAST @gmail.com. Again, any questions, thoughts, opinions on the show, email them to me, and I gladly respond back to talk to you guys about that. That was the email we used to take the 2 questions for the episode, which is officially episode 22. I'm not sure if I said that in the beginning, but this is the 22nd episode of the Bunny Zion BZCast. This came from Kathy, again through the Bunny Zion Cast email. She said her bunny has been pooping pretty normal for the time that she's had her bunny. I'm not sure if it was a male or female. I don't know why I said her. Until lately, the bunny has had a normal stool, and I just got some checkpoints here. Lately, the stool has been egg-shaped and a little wet. She says there's no change to the diet. She eats shorewood pellets, veggies, Timothy hay, and the occasional treat here and there. She said she did recently change the hay, and the bunny is still acting her normal self. So her question is this something she should be super worried about? And what would you say?
Rabbit poo. Rabbit poo possibly makes up about 60% of my life. I am living as I do in an apartment with 8 rabbits of my own, and if you know, a rabbit produces between 150 to 300 poos a day. That is up to 2,500 poos that I have to deal with in my own house of all shapes and consistency. And so rabbit poo is a very interesting subject. It is, and it's quite complicated. So I might talk a bit generally first and then get down to the specifics of the question. So you're probably all aware that rabbits will produce 2 types of poo. So they produce the normal little round pellets that we see that ping out of the litter tray and end up all over the house if you're not careful. And they also produce those little sticky poos. They're called cicatrophs, or some people call them secals. They are highly scented. They look like little black bunches of grapes. They're very sticky. They're full of volatile fatty acids, and they are the first pass of the digestive through the digestive tract. And rabbits are supposed to eat all of those. And so sometimes, if your rabbit owners are seeing odd-shaped poo, it's quite important to differentiate between whether or not they are oddly shaped normal poos, or whether they are cicatrophs, and whether those cicatrophs look normal, or whether those cicatrophs look abnormal.
Okay.
And rabbits who have cicatrophs, they have a tendency to stomp on them and squash them. And so it is a classic that I get a lot of people worrying that their rabbit has got diarrhea. So the first thing that I do for a client is I say, will you send me a photograph and bring me in a sample? So the first place to start is to have a look and see what the poo looks like. So poo is telling you what has happened in the digestive tract 24 to 48 hours previously. So it's a picture backwards rather than almost telling you what's currently going on. So misshapen poo. So assuming that our client has these are the normal fecal pellets that are misshapen. There could be a lot of things going on here. If they have suddenly started to be misshapen, then there is a potential that the shape of the poo is made by the cecum itself, so the big fermentation vat in the rabbit. It's the kind of equivalent of our appendix, but I think a human appendix is a couple of centimetres long, whereas the cecum in a rabbit, it folds over each other. It's about 75 centimetres of digestive tract of fermentation vat. So if you have any cecal abnormality, or the outflow pipe to the cecum, which is the colon, and in the colon there's a little area of tissue, innervated tissue called the fusus coli, which innervates the cecum and kind of turns it on and turns it off like when you change your heating at night and you have hot in the morning and cold at night, or the other way around, it's like a pacemaker for the cecum. So if there is any disorder with the cecum itself, any disorder with the fusus coli, the pacemaker, or the shape of the colon, the shape of the poo can also change. And this is where we get into sort of difficult territory, because rabbit medicine is so far behind cat medicine and dog medicine that we can start to see these things, but it's really hard for us to investigate everything. So abnormal shaped poos. Out of my own rabbits in this house, as I said, I've got 8. 2 of my rabbits produce quite ovoid poos, and that's normal for them. I don't know whether it's coincidental or not. I don't think it is. But they both had their incisor teeth removed because they've had a congenital malocclusion. So their diet is slightly different to the rest of my household, and so their poos, they have their veggies chopped up a bit more, and so I don't know whether that contributes to them both pooing very oval-shaped poos the other end of the body. The rest of my guys produce sort of lovely football-shaped poos. This is English football, not Australian football.
Yeah.
And that's because I eat a whole pile of hay. So it's difficult to give a generalisation. I would say to your client, if it is poo and not cicatrose, and they have suddenly changed shape, and there is no diet change, I would be taking them off to their vet to have a checkup, and possibly do some fecal analysis just to check that nothing strange has crept into that poo, like a parasite that you don't want. Although a lot depends on your the rabbit's age, whether it's desexed or not, its vaccination status, whether it lives inside or outside. So there's lots of factors that are hard to just guess from a question. But I probably would take some poo off to my vet. And if they don't get excited when you bring them poo, change your vet. Gerry, top tip from Gerry. My phone is, as I said, I get pictures of poo. In fact, as we've been talking, my clients have been texting me, it's on silent, and 2 pictures of poo have appeared while we've been talking. Worried overnight that her rabbit's poo has looked a bit different. So definitely worth getting, again, your rabbit savvy vet to have a look at the poo and have a look at your bunny.
Okay. It seems like I thought that was also a great question to ask, and like you said, you went into like the general sense of it, because it seems to be like that it could be a significant sign of something if it does look very, it just looks off, it looks different.
Absolutely, and I am in the process of writing a handout, which I'm going to put on my website. It said, "What does your rabbit's poo say about you?" And it is pictures of different types of rabbit poo and what that is suggestive of. Obviously it's not completely all encompassing, but just years of so pictures of normal poos, cicatrose, little small dark dry poos, big beautiful rounded golden poos, to complete diarrhea, to mucus, to all the things that can actually come out of a rabbit's bottom, which actually is an awful lot of things can come out of a rabbit's bottom. I've seen a lot over the years, and so it can be very, very useful diagnostically to see what's coming out the back end, and then compare it to what's been going in the front end and work out what's been going on in the middle.
Okay. So this question I'm going to pull up really quickly as the sun in my house is shining straight in my face. I have to pull it up online. This is the one I told you before the recording. That's super long and detailed, but it's okay. I will read this whole thing. I'm hoping I'm also pronouncing their name correctly. Odette, Odete. She emailed the show this question. I'd like to know, what are your thoughts on slow emptying of the stomach on a rabbit? There's also we are again, I looked down at my phone and we are again reconnecting with Dr. Gerry Skinner. Again, she's been okay. All right, Gerry, are you there?
Yes, I am. Sorry, yes, we disappeared for a minute there.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was kind of expecting, little blips, but it's okay. They've only lasted like not even 30 seconds. So,
yeah, it's not too bad, is it? Yeah.
So I'm also I was telling you, and I was in the middle of telling my guests, to the audience, people listening, that there's going to be some things on here that I was looking over this before the show. There was words on here that I don't even know, that I've never even heard of. So I'll probably just end up spelling them because I don't even know how to pronounce them. So sounds
challenging.
I'm starting the question from Odette. Again, she emailed a question into the show. The third and final question. I'd like to know, to Dr. Gerry Skinner, what are your thoughts on the slow emptying of the stomach on a rabbit? Barium X-rays exam revealed my girl has it. Vets run that test because she was given because she was having early GI episodes. She eats a lot of hay, Oxbow Orchard grass hay, Supreme, Western, Timothy hay. Her fresh greens diet include fennel, dill, watercress, cilantro, lemon balm, celery leaves, carrot tops, arugula, rocket salad every time and now then. And now grassy greens nor lack of fiber. So no grassy greens nor lack of fiber on her diet. After becoming aware of her condition in April, I cut all the fresh greens and fresh herbs because I'm very scared they can ferment and build gas due to that slow emptying of the stomach, thus causing more GI episodes. She's currently on only hay and dried herbs, chamomile, lemon balm, plantain, peppermint, calendula. I probably messed that up. Birch / betula, alba, milk thistle, a few rose petals every now and then in diet. Candy, I guess that'd be the bunny, eats very few Oxbow essential food pellets once a day. I like to know if what I'm doing is the right thing, cutting the fresh greens, or if she can suffer from a lack of vitamins and nutrients based on the diet I've written above, in quotes, hay and dried herbs. She's almost 3-year-old Nettie, weighing 1.04 kilograms. Her weight is always between 1.0110 kilograms and 1.050. What is causing that slow emptying of the stomach is yet to be determined. From the x-rays, it seems to be partial blockage. It's not very clear in the x-rays image. One of the exotic clinic vets think it may be, this is that word, Trichoberosaurus. I'm sure you know what that is, but they can't be 100% sure. We really don't want them to perform any surgery because it's risky and the post-op is complicated. So I'd really like to know what you recommend and what you think about all this. P.S. Every time she had GO/hippo motility episodes, she was 0.5 milliliters of metoclopramide twice a day for 3 days and 0.5 ml of liquid paraffin twice a day for 5 days. Thank you so much for your help on the subject. That was, again, that was a more than a mouthful, but I'm very glad and happy to share your question. Dr. Gerry Skinner, were you able to process all that?
So it sounds like we have a 3-year-old female neutered Nettie who has intermittent episodes of gut stasis, and so that will be gut stasis is anorexia, where you're not eating and your digestive tract slows down, and this can be very painful, and it can lead to bits and pieces getting stuck in your digestive tract, so you can actually get an obstruction which can become surgical. Things that get stuck in your digestive tract normally get stuck because you're dehydrated, and as I mentioned earlier, dehydration is very important in a rabbit. I guess in this particular case, I wish I had the client to ask her some more questions and her vet to ask her some more questions. So I might have to be a bit more vague than specific for her case. But as I've already said, gut stasis, episodes of hypomotility are not a disease in themselves. They're actually a syndrome. It's what rabbits do when they're not well. Now, the thing about the vets sound like they've done a very thorough workup. The stomach of a rabbit, however, is never empty, and there is always a felt or a fur mat in there. And this is the trichobezoar, the fur ball that the vets are diagnosing. That is absolutely normal to have a certain amount of fur and ingesta in a rabbit's stomach. However, some rabbits can have excessive fur in their hair, and that can be fur in their stomach, hair in their stomach, and that can be worse at times of molting. Netties don't necessarily molt a huge amount of fur, but if she has a partner rabbit that is a cashmere, an Angora, a long-haired rabbit, excessive grooming of your partner can often lead to excessive fur ingestion in yourself, and that can lead to motility issues. The thing the interesting thing about rabbits and motility status is, as I mentioned previously, the cecum, the fermentation vat in a rabbit, is regulated by this pacemaker, this thing called the fusus coli, that turns on and off at certain times of day. At certain times of day, it turns off to make the sticky poos, the cecotrophs, and other times of day, it turns on to make the normal fecal pellets. Now, depending on what time of day you do a barium study, so this is giving a radio-opaque material to a rabbit and just watching how it passes through the intestines over time, the digestive tract intestinal time is going to vary whether or not it's the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, and whether or not the rabbit is in the digestive phase, the cecal phase, or whether they're in the pellet phase of digestion. So I guess I'd love to chat to the vet and find out what time the study was done and what phase of digestion they think the rabbit was in, that they think things are moving slower. So it is a difficult one. I have lots of clients who have intermittent episodes of gut stasis, and we're back to this old the thorny chestnut that we don't have our diagnostics in rabbits are still way behind that of cats or dogs. And your listener is absolutely right that surgery, especially surgery to go into a stomach, is not a very good idea most of the time. You can get post-operative complications, and all sorts of things can go on. The sorts of things that I've noticed that rabbits can get hypomotility for can vary from diet, although your listener sounds like she's got a beautiful diet. It's mimicking very much what a wild rabbit would eat, a dried version of that. So as long as she's getting enough fluid, she's getting plenty of water, the balance of vitamins and minerals she's going to get from a wide range of herbs and hay sounds pretty perfect to me. So I wouldn't worry your rabbit's not getting the digestive, the food they like. And the minerals and the vitamins to keep her healthy. That doesn't sound like an issue at all to me. But some rabbits can get gut stasis episodes because they have dietary intolerances. And over here I have noticed some rabbits have a problem with things like cabbage or cauliflower or snow peas or beans, and it's different for every rabbit. And I do tend to put those bunnies on an exclusion diet. I start them off with just hay, and then I add veggies in every couple of weeks and see whether or not things get worse again. So other things that can cause hypomotility and gut stasis, there are masses. Gastric ulcers are pretty common. We reckon about 10% of rabbits have got undiagnosed gastric ulcers. Also pain from arthritis or dental disease or ear problems are all really common causes of intermittent gut stasis. So when I get a bunny in who's really sick and is not eating and has gut stasis, as long as they haven't got a surgical obstruction that I need to take them to surgery for, I make sure that they get lots of fluids, lots of pain relief, critical care feeds, and then gut motility agents. So these are drugs like cisapride or ranitidine or metoclopramide, which your client's on. Your listener's on metoclopramide to help things move along. Sometimes I'll also put them on a drug called sucralfate, which is an anti-ulcer medication. And I'll put them on this for about a month just to see. I've had a few clients who, once I've done this, those frequent gut stasis episodes have just cleared up completely, which leads me to think that they've got an ulcer. Trying to put a camera down into a rabbit's tummy to check for an ulcer is very difficult because they've got a very tight esophageal sphincter, so you can't get the camera down there. So again, we're back to diagnostics are way behind where they should be for cats and dogs, but we're trying to get there. So I think that's probably we talked about diet, we've talked about so causes of gut stasis. One of the things I'm lucky to have in my own clinic is we have a CT scanner. And so we use the CT scanner to basically get 3D images of the entire digestive tract. So if there is something weird in there, we can see it without having to go into surgery first, or if we do think it's surgical, we can make a plan. And I appreciate not everyone has a CT scanner in their building, but I find that's a really useful diagnostic tool for bunnies.
Awesome. No, I appreciate you asking or answering the listeners' questions for Dustin, for Kathy, and for Odette. Odette, I'm hoping that I'm saying your name correctly. So we'll just go over a couple of common general things and maybe anything that you thought might be important to share with us. When you deal with bunny patients and parents, what are some common mistakes that my listeners can hope to avoid when it comes to their bunny, that when you see a bunny, whether it's a house call or when they come in to see you, something that can be avoided where, you see it pretty commonly?
Oh, I guess the most common thing that I see in house calls or when clients come in, and I'm guilty of this myself, is overfeeding your rabbit treats.
Okay.
We all want to do it. We love our bunnies. This isn't. You could see the video, Randy, but the guys could. When we first started this, my bunnies were jumping all over the computer here because they thought sultanas were coming, and that's their treat of choice. And when they talking on the computer, they like to join in. It's really easy to go overboard with the sugary treats, the salt, and we have to remember what constitutes a treat. Pellets are actually a treat. Carrots are a treat, apple, all of the fruits that we eat. We want to give these to our animals because we want to show them that we love them. But you can give them too many, and this can lead to digestive problems and obesity. And one of the biggest problems I'm now seeing in rabbits, and 2 of my 8 bunnies are exactly in this position, no matter how little I feed them, of being overweight. Being overweight is a real problem for rabbits. It can lead to joint disease, arthritis. It can put stress on your heart. It does really shorten life expectancy. So what we should really be aiming for is this diet of 80% hay or grass, 15% greens and 5% treats. That little pyramid that you're probably already aware of, seeing that we flash up every time we talk about diet. So I guess that's my number 1 top tip to everyone, is just sit and have a think about your bunny's diet. It's really easy to overfeed your rabbit because we just get a handful of something, and rabbits are different sizes. I mean, I have in my house a 1 kilo little dwarf lop, and at the other end I've got a 4.5 kilo New Zealand giant. Now they need different amounts of food every day just to keep them healthy and to keep them. So just have a think about your bunny's diet and have a look at them. Again, if you're not sure, get your rabbit savvy vet to condition score your rabbit and tell you whether or not you think they're a bit overweight, and what you can do about that, and how to put your bunny on a diet. So I've put many bunnies on a diet, including my own.
Awesome. You said New Zealand. I've heard of New Zealand. I don't know if I've heard of New Zealand giant. That's a first.
It's a New Zealand white, so they're red-eyed whites is what they call them as well. I mean,
okay.
I can call one over if you want to say.
Oh no, it's okay.
No, a little bunny face has just popped out the wardrobe. Go back. It's all right. You don't need it.
No, I only brought that up because I have a Flemish in the home, and that was just interesting to me. This is the second one I've had. The big guys are always really, really fun to play around with.
Well, they're absolute gentle giants. And
exactly.
I guess that's another tip for people looking for rabbits. For the first time, if they're new rabbits, I guess your listeners here are not going to be people who are looking to get their first rabbit, but people often do that with their eyes rather than their hearts, and with a bit of knowledge, because all rabbit breeds are completely different. Mm-hmm. And I'll wait for you to come back.
Did we lose a connection again? Hold on, we lost the connection again. Let me give Gerry a quick call. Sorry about this. All right, nope, we're here. Connecting. Sorry about the brief commercial break. Gerry.
Again, sorry.
Okay, so you were talking about different rabbits and people adopting different rabbit breeds.
Absolutely. And I guess to make it a bit wider for the people who are listening who already own rabbits, I'm going to tell you something that you all already know. And that is that rabbits are individuals. They are very like people in a lot of ways. They're born with their own personality, and there's very little you can actually do to change that. So rabbits are, some of them are introverts, some of them are extroverts, some of them are stress head, some of them are completely chilled out, and there are certainly different breeds that have more attributes than others, but they are complete individuals. I think it's one of the most surprising things that people find when they get when they come into the world of rabbits, they fall down the rabbit hole, so to speak, and become one of us. They have no idea how different personalities rabbits can be. So different breeds of rabbits have completely different personalities, and within that breed you'll have different personalities again. So definitely worth doing your research before you get a new bunny as to what kind of rabbit's going to fit with your lifestyle.
Okay, so it's a really good tip for people on adopting their bunnies. We brought up a couple of
your bunnies. Never buy a rabbit. I mean,
adopting.
Yes.
But believe me, the whole buying bunnies and pet stores has come up as a topic many times on this show. In fact, I think it did on the last episode for a minute or two. Believe me, if my audience has listened to the previous 20-some episodes, they know how we feel and how it should go. If you're looking to adopt, go to your local rescue shelter, give them a hand. You're helping them out big time by adopting from them and giving a bunny a loving home. No pet stores. A lot of topics have come and gone that, I'm like kind of stuck in the middle on, but the whole thing with pet stores, that has not changed at all as far as I'm concerned for myself. It's and I've said it like a bunch of other times in other episodes. You're feeding the beast when it comes to, even if you feel bad and you want to get the one out of there. I told this story in the last episode that there's one about 3 blocks away from my house. It's a 10-minute walk. Animal Island, pet shop, something like that. I walked in there once. Like 2 bunnies and like a lizard tank that were way too big for the tank or even to be even sharing something like that. And a little hamster popped up out of there that was also living in there with them. People had no idea what they were doing. They were just seeing if they could live in the same tank together and get along. I had to walk out of there before something would happen where it wouldn't be good for those people. So, and I know it's a lot worse at other places, and some stores, quote unquote, do put forth like a better effort and like hire people that know what they're doing. But either way, you're feeding the beast if you go in there and put the money out of your pocket, because another rabbit is just going to be stuck in that bad situation. So
Absolutely.
where they're not properly attended to, like us bunny parents would attend to. That's my little rant on the pet stores.
Good on you. I'm with you on that one. Yes.
So when it comes to it's come up a couple of times, and I was gonna bring it up because it's so common. I see so many people have bunnies that have multiple episodes on it about it, and that's stasis and GI stasis. I just wanted you to talk about that for a little bit, because at the same time, people can manage it. It seems like some people can manage it, and bunnies can, go through an episode and they're fine in like 48 hours, which is crazy to me. But then other times it's really long, and sometimes a bunny passes away right away. Personally, if some of my listeners know that have been with me the whole time, with my Milo, it was stasis that led to a heart attack. So what's some knowledge that some people should know about GI stasis as common as it's become?
Absolutely. So as I've mentioned gut stasis probably 2 or 3 times already chatting to you today, Randy. the most important thing to realise about gut stasis is it's not an illness, it's not a disease, it's just a symptom. It's what rabbits do when they're not well. And this is why people get caught out and why it's hard to just treat it at home, because most of the time you'll get away with it with some fluids and pain relief at home. But it's a bit like thinking about vomiting in a dog or vomiting in a person. If you think about vomiting, you can vomit because you've eaten too much, or you've eaten something that's disagreed with you, or you can vomit because you've got a severe headache or severe pain or gallstones, or you can vomit because you've got cancer, or because you're on certain medications, or your kidneys aren't working, or your liver isn't working. So it's the same for rabbits. When we think of gut stasis, it's a symptom. It's just telling us that there's something wrong in the bunny. And then that can be anything from a change in diet, a stressful event, a ear infection, dental disease, liver disease, kidney disease, cancer, and gastric ulcers, as I've already mentioned. So many things that can cause gut stasis. And so one fix does not cover all. And that's exactly why, Randy, as you've said so well, some rabbits can get over an episode of gut stasis in 12, 24 hours. They just need a bit of fluids, a bit of pain relief and some feeding. And those bunnies possibly are having gut stasis because they've eaten something that's disagreed with them or something stressful's happened. So in the last week in my clinic, I probably treated about 6 cases of gut stasis. And these have varied from a rabbit that went on holiday with the owner. He didn't like being on holiday and he didn't like the travel, and he came back and he stopped eating. He had some fluids and some pain relief and everything was back to normal within 24 hours. The other end of the scale was a rabbit that also stopped eating. When we had fluids and pain relief, she was admitted to the hospital very dehydrated. And to cut a long story short, with that poor rabbit, we did actually have to take her to surgery, and she had multiple intestinal adhesions. So all her intestines were stuck together like cling film and glad wrap, and we had to try and get surgery to move them. So both rabbits present with gut stasis, but completely different underlying causes. So that's why gut stasis is tricky. That's why one person seems to get over it one bunny seems to get over it easy, and another bunny doesn't. So my approach, again, I'm as an emergency vet who spends her life dealing with gut stasis and sick rabbits, is ideally you need to have a vet who can tell the difference between I've got a bit of gut stasis and I'm not quite right. Now, and I'm really, really sick and I need to be in hospital and I need to go to surgery. Now, the way we do that in the hospital in Melbourne is we do a couple of very basic blood tests when rabbits walk through the door. The first one is measuring their blood glucose, and blood glucose in a rabbit is a very useful prognostic indicator as to whether your rabbit requires surgery or not. So all stressed rabbits, all rabbits with gut stasis will normally have a higher blood glucose, but if your blood glucose is these are Australian measurements, are going to be different for America. Over a blood glucose of over 25-30 in a rabbit is suggestive that you've got surgical obstruction occurring. A blood glucose of 15 to 20, which is still very high, and it's 3 times higher than it should be, is suggestive of a gut stasis of a non-surgical origin. So the second blood test that we routinely do is measuring called the PCV-TP, so the red cell count, and how much every unit of blood is made up of red cells, little white cells, a bit of protein and some water. Now, if you're dehydrated, the water percentage goes down in relation to the red cells and the protein. So if you've got a very dehydrated rabbit, the red cell count will go up and the protein count will go up. And we can use that as a measure of hydration, which is really important because a dehydrated rabbit, nothing's going to move and they're going to go into gut stasis. And so sometimes those rabbits just need a really big amount of IV fluids to get them going again. So just a little snapshot into half of a week in the Rabbit Doctor's clinic, but there is so much variation, and it's why it's hard. So you can't really say, my rabbit's in gut stasis, I'll give you X, Y, and Z, and it'll be fine.
Okay. Yeah. It's a very good question. So it's very detailed. There's a lot of varying factors that can lead to it. I was actually going to ask about like settings / environment when it came to stasis, and then you brought up the story about the bunny traveling on the road, and that's what made it unsettled. So, just going off of that story as an example, would if you see nothing on the blood cell or with the blood test that would lead you to believe anything is more serious, and with other tests and you don't see anything that leads you to believe there's something, really, really terrible that needs surgery. Oh, okay, we still have connection. I wasn't sure if we still have connection.
I can hear you.
Okay, just making sure.
Yep.
So, would you say, if a bunny just, went through, a stressful period, that is more of an easier recovery for a bunny with dealing with stasis, rather than, I guess that's, a pretty obvious question, but rather than a bunny that's dealing with something more complicated?
Oh, absolutely, and it does not matter. At the beginning, as I've already said, it almost doesn't matter what causes the gut stasis, because there are 4 things you need to treat gut stasis. You need fluids, you need pain relief, you need critical care feeding if they're not eating, and if they are not surgically obstructed, you need to give them gut motility agents to help move their tummy along. And so my approach to all of these cases is, as long as there's no obstruction, I treat them, and then when I'm getting them better, then we decide whether or not we're going to work up and look for an underlying cause. If a client comes into me and we take what we call a history, so we ask you what's been happening. Another example, this is from about 12, 14 years ago now in the UK when I was doing rabbits over there. I had a client who kept raptors in the garden with his rabbits, and they had done so for many, many years, and there had been no problems. And he came into me because 2 of his rabbits went into gut stasis overnight, and talking to the client, getting that history from them, I found out that it was coming into winter, and so obviously in the UK it's very cold in the winter, and so to get his rabbits a bit warmer, he actually turned their hutches to face the sunlight, and in doing so he turned them to face where the raptors were. Now, they'd lived in the same area for years, but now the bunnies were in direct sight of the birds of prey, and so unsurprisingly they got stressed and went into gut stasis. So we treated the gut stasis, and we turned the cages around, and those guys were absolutely fine. I also make house rabbits out of them, but that's another story. So if you get something in your history, your story from the client that is suggestive of a stressful incident or a diet change, some rabbits will do this just because of a change of hay. Some rabbits are so sensitive. And they did a study in the UK. It wasn't a very big study, but that shows things like lop rabbits are more likely to get gut stasis than other breeds of rabbit. And so there's so many factors involved in all of this, in the gut stasis. It's one of the things. We're back to poo and no poo. It's my life trying to work out what's going on with a rabbit. And rabbits, being prey species, they don't give a lot away when they're sick. They don't tell you they're sick until they're very sick. And so one of the big things as an emergency vet is trying to work out if your rabbit is unwell, if your rabbit is very sick, or if your rabbit is dying. And that sounds kind of straightforward, but it's actually really quite complicated, and it takes years of looking at sick animals, not just rabbits but cats and dogs, to tune your mind to go, oh my God, this bunny is really unwell, and then treating them accordingly.
Okay. I think that was it for the questions and then the general questions, but I did want to close your part out with, is there like a general message about bunny health or any particular advice that you would give to my audience about their bunnies and their health?
That's a very good. Perhaps not advice about bunnies and health, but sort of. I think let's start again. We are a self-selecting client base almost, because we really care about our rabbits and want to do the right things. So many times I have clients come in and see me and they're full of guilt. Oh, I had my rabbit in a hutch for so long. I bought my rabbit from a pet shop and I didn't realise. Oh, I fed my rabbit mix and I shouldn't have done that. And yes, these are all things you shouldn't do, but we're so racked with guilt that we forget that we are doing good things for our rabbits. And my wish for the world of rabbits, for bunnydom, which is my prime aim in life, is that all rabbits are kept as well as they possibly can. So what I would say to all of you is that if you make sure you've got a good rabbit savvy vet somewhere in your life, if it's not physically in your town, hopefully in your state, or on the internet, or somewhere that you can talk to about things. Feed your rabbits as well as you possibly can. Top tip, keep your rabbits indoors. Certainly in Melbourne, this triples their life expectancy to have a rabbit as an indoor rabbit. And be happy. Don't sit there being guilty about the things that you haven't done with your rabbits. As I said, I started this interview by telling you that I've owned rabbits for 40 years, and every mistake that clients come in and feel guilty about, I have also done. And being owned by rabbits, we learn. Gotta get it right.
Yeah,
being owned by rabbits. Every rabbit that comes into your life, and I've personally owned about 35, 40 rabbits in my life. Been owned by 35, 40 rabbits in my life, has taught me something that's made me a better rabbit owner. And advances in medical science now, especially in rabbits, are coming on. I'm very proud and excited to be part of the research and advancing the education in rabbit knowledge. But what we're doing already, I just want people to be happy about what they're doing. And if you're a happy, enthusiastic rabbit owner, the word gets out there, because we really are all rabbit owners. We live in this little secret society. There's a world out there of people who have no idea how wonderful rabbits are and how brilliant a life you can have with them. Sadly, some of these people are actually rabbit owners. And so our job is to be enthusiastic, treat our rabbits as well as we can, and that just shines through society. And then more people will realise that rabbits are fantastic pets, and to be owned by a rabbit is possibly the most wonderful thing on the planet.
I agree. Gerry, thank you again for taking your time and working with me, going back and forth with trying to schedule this show. We probably sent like 30 emails back and forth to each other. You do have a Facebook page. Is it like the Rabbit Doctor? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so it's yes, the Rabbit Doctor. You look on Facebook, look for the green logo. Let me just check my colour. Yeah, the green and purple logo. So if you just look up the Rabbit Doctor, it'll be plainly obvious which one it is. We also have a website, www.therabbitdoctor.com.au.
Okay.
And a work in progress, but there's some interesting stuff on there about diet and husbandry, and and links to other brilliant bunny resources on the internet.
Okay. And I do want to tell my audience that I did ask her off the air about her taking questions, but she's right, and she's very right in the point that you should reach out to your vet. Establish when you get a bunny, when you're thinking about getting a bunny, look into getting a vet. You know, see if there's a vet in your area. Establish, whatever you want to call it, a friendship, a business, bunny relationship, whatever you want to call it, to make sure you guys are on the same page about being prepared for, what can come next. If they do take calls, personally on their cell phone, I know not everyone has that, that privilege, but some vets will do it. I'd say it's a fair question to ask them. If you can give them a call overnight, a page, a text, email at the very least, where maybe they'll see that email before they go to bed at night or something. You know what I mean? So establish. I guess what I'm trying to say is you guys will probably feel a little tempted to ask Gerry questions. And like she said in the beginning of the show, you should reach out to your own personal vet so you're not waiting on her to check her Facebook page to answer questions. Speak to your own vet first. Establish a partnership relationship with them so you can get your questions answered about your bunny and get your bunny taken care of. Also, a good tip that she said in the beginning is to, if you like I have an exotic animal hospital, 24 hours, open 24 hours a day. There's always at least one vet that can treat bunnies on hand 24/7. Look to see if you do have that in your state, in your area. If it's within driving distance for you. That I'd say that's definitely important stuff that Gerry told us in the beginning. Again, thank you, Gerry, for your time, and thank you.
You're very welcome indeed. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you, and check out her Facebook page at The Rabbit Doctor. Check out the website, therabbitdoctor.com.au, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you want lots of not that gruesome pictures of surgery, obviously lots of pictures of rabbit poo, given I've gone on about it. Case studies. We post all sorts of interesting stuff on there that most bunny owners find very interesting.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you again for your time. Good luck with everything with your practice, and thank you for answering all those questions and giving us a bunch of details on bunny poo and and emergency care. I appreciate it, Gerry. Thank you for coming on the show.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thank you.
You take care.
You too.
Again, that was Gerry Skinner, the Rabbit Doctor. Check out her Facebook page, her website, therabbitdoctor.com, www.therabbitdoctor.com/.au. Again, I know I just said it once or twice, but make sure you do speak to your own vet. It can be very tempting to ask. I know I do. I'll ask a question. I have my friend Jan at HRS Chicago. She's awesome. I'll send her a text or a Facebook message about a question about bunny poop or bunny something else. I said something the other day about Moose, who's my Flemish giant, making noises, and she just said that's him talking to me. And I'm like, okay. So I know I'm setting a bad example by saying that, but definitely establish a relationship with your vet to where you can reach them. Try to see if you can reach them on a personal level. I'm assuming most vets have their own social media page. Maybe if they're not willing to do their phone number, maybe you can connect with them on Facebook or Twitter or something along those lines where you could send them a message saying, hey, I know you're not in the office today, but this is what I'm dealing with. Should I be concerned? Blah, blah, blah. Or like Gerry said, you can call if you do have like a animal clinic or an exotic animal hospital that's open 24 hours. I'm only saying that because of the emergencies where your vet is not in. You can call them. I have spoken to them once or twice when I had Milo before he passed away. And they will grab, if they can't answer your question, they will grab a vet, the person working behind the desk. They will grab a vet that can answer your question. You might have to wait a little bit if the vet has appointments, but at least you can get your question answered by someone who with the medical knowledge and answer your question. Again, just to rehash a little bit of the beginning of what I said in the beginning. Thank you again for the birthday wishes. I turned 27 on May 31st. Thank you again. I'll do this real quickly, I promise. The show's already a little over an hour long, which is good. The Bunny Box company, Bunny Box, Get Bunny Box, is going out of business. June is their last month. Sad to see because it's a wonderful business. They got great reviews on their website. Again, this is not something they asked me to do. I just saw this on Twitter this morning and said, hey, they should, if they're going to have to be forced to close their doors, they should at least, go out strong with people, supporting them. Again, check out their website. They do have really great reviews with people who subscribe to the Bunny Box. Again, it's like a little box that's filled with hay and rabbit food and other little toys or treats and stuff like that. So that's getbunnybox.com, getbunnybox.com. Checked out their website. Something you might be interested in. Again, June 1st. Today is June 1st. Our new issue dropped today. Please make sure you tell your friends about it. You share it on social media pages. And that you download it. Again, the more downloads, the more attention that we get from potential sponsors, advertisers, we take their money and we put it into rescues. And that's what we're all about, is helping the rescues out. So you guys don't have to, my audience, listeners, the readers of the e-magazine, don't have to donate your own money out of your pocket, your bank account, to the rescues. Again, on June 16th, I'm aiming for that date. That is the 1-year anniversary of the first episode of the Bunny's Eye and BZCast. Again, that's episodes with Ann Martin. I'm aiming for that date. I will be a solo episode, obviously. But I will talk in length about the first year, some of our guests. I'll definitely bring up our guest today, Gerry Skinner, and talked about the wonderful information that she provided for us today. Our social media pages, we are official Bunny Zine on Instagram, official B-Zine on Twitter, and Bunny Zine on Facebook. Make sure you give us a like and a follow on there. Again, thank you guys for tuning in, and I hope... Sorry, guys. I wanted to say one last thing. I'm sorry again for my voice. I had a long, lengthy conversation on the phone during a couple of my breaks at work today about stupid business stuff. So that's why my voice is a little cracked. And then I also apologize for the couple of breakups and connection that we had with Gerry. I thought overall still went pretty well. You know, there was a couple of little blips, but again, that was really cool to do a international phone call with Gerry. She's from Melbourne, Australia. 15-hour time difference. It is June 1st here, and it's like, what time is it? 10 a.m. June 2nd there, which is crazy. I think that's really crazy, but it's really cool. And then I think FaceTime still worked out. I know there were a couple of times where the audio kind of dipped in and out, but for the most part, I think it went pretty well. So if there's something that you missed when she was explaining something, I apologize about that. But again, that was really cool of her. Again, thank you to Gerry Skinner for coming on the show. Thank you guys. Oh, one more time for the channels. Bunny's Eye and BZCast. You can find on YouTube.com, SoundCloud.com, iTunes in the podcast section, and on Stitcher Radio, Stitcher.com. Subscribe and share the show. Subscribe to your favorite format, whatever format you prefer. Again, I say this all the time, but for the iPhone users, iPad users, that little purple microphone, people just skip over it and never look to see what it is podcasts. If you go into that podcast and you search Bunny's Eye and BZCast, you'll find our show, and you can listen to it and do other stuff on your phone. I do it all the time. I'm subscribed to like 10 podcasts on my phone. Not 10, but a good 5 or 6. Put on your headphones and do whatever else you're doing in your house. On SoundCloud.com, and on the Stitcher.com and on YouTube.com. Also, all four of the channels have mobile applications where you can listen to them on your phone, on your tablet, iPad, whatever, laptop. That's what I usually do. I listen to most of my podcasts off my phone while I'm doing something else, doing some stuff around the house. So make sure you guys subscribe and share. Thank you guys for listening. You have a nice night / have a nice day. For the intro and for the outro is Kevin MacLeod of Incomtech.com. Kevin MacLeod of Incomtech.com.